All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. We're just gonna do a quick little hip opener flow. We're gonna work on all those little intricate parts of the hips. I took a few days off, so thank you for your patience. And I hope that you're enjoying the videos. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to work on. Any type of a class, back bends, a little more core. But today we're just gonna really focus on the hips. So it's important for us to grab a hold of something, maybe even a little towel that we can prop underneath us for a couple of the poses that we're gonna just kind of settle into. So let's begin today. Let's start in a child's pose. Open up your knees super wide as possible, bringing the big toes to touch, and settle the hips down heavy onto the heels. Extend the arms in front of you and then release the elbows down, release the third eye, that forehead, and then immediately drop into the here and the now as you close your eyes. Taking a few moments to gift yourself this stillness, this connection with your breath, especially being in a child's pose where you can really hear that verbal, audible, rhythmic breathing as we start to introduce that ujjayi. So deep inhale breaths and full exhale as you restrict the whisper muscles in the back of the throat. Just taking a few rounds of that ujjayi breath on your own, maybe with each and every round growing a little bit deeper into your breath and settling the hips a little bit more onto your heels. So if child's pose is a challenge with the knees open wide, bring the knees closer together. Move the forehead from side to side so that you can start to stimulate that pineal gland. A big chunk of our our stress, right, is right there in that pineal gland. So we want to stimulate that area to release our dopamines right away. And then I invite you to create an intention or a word, something that is going to help you navigate through those challenging parts of our practice, especially when we're working on hips. Those are our hidden survival muscles. So we're all pretty tense and tight in that area of the body. Let's take 2 more full rounds of breathing, that ujjayi breath. As you repeat your word, your mantra, I always stick with the same thing. My mind and my body are in perfect health. And then as I repeat that, your body starts to echo all that goodness, gratitude that you give it. And then release your breath, look up in between your hands, just pull yourself into a tabletop. So you can walk the hands closer to the body, bring the knees together, and then come into your tabletop position. Make sure that your toes are hidden behind your knees, shoulders in line with your wrists. Turn your fingers out just a little bit towards the outer edges of your mat, and eyes of the elbows rotate in towards each other. So we have this rotation of the biceps being forward and the triceps being back. We'll just take some basic cat-cow. So on your inhale, drop your belly. Arch your spine, pull your shoulders away from the midline, and then exhale, round and curl. Tuck the pelvis in towards the belly button, let the chin fall at the bottom of the bra. Inhale, carve out your chest, and exhale, round and curl. Just moving with your own breath. Taking a few rounds, maybe going a little bit quicker, or maybe slowing down just a little bit. So giving yourself exactly what it is that you need at this very moment. And everything that we feel on our mats today is just situational. So how you slept, how you ate, who you spoke to. And really just start to cultivate just being in the here and the now. Not worrying about what you brought onto your mat, kind of letting it all go. Come to a neutral spine, and then on your next inhale, extend the right leg back behind you. We're just gonna take some circles. So we're gonna rotate the right knee, tap the right elbow, and we're just gonna take some big circles. So right away, we're just gonna warm up those hips. Keep protracting your shoulders. So you wanna actively press the earth away, and then let's move in the opposite direction. So going through the midline and then opening up. All right. This is your practice. You put into it, you're gonna get out of it, and then extend the right leg back behind you. Start to bend your knee and stack your hip just for a moment. Just feel that open pelvis, and then extend the right leg back behind you. Release the right toes down to the ground, and then just make some circles in one direction, and then in the other direction. We start to get into that back of the leg, of the Achilles. Release the right foot down towards the ground, and then just extend the left leg back behind you. Take a deep inhale breath, protract your shoulders, and then big circles. So we're just going to extend on our inhale, and then exhale as we take that big circle. Just a few rounds in one direction. Being really mindful that we're not collapsing into the shoulders. You always want to actively press the earth away. Let's move in the opposite direction. Beautiful. Keep staying connected. As long as you connect with your breath and the movement, that is the yoga. We're mindful of all of that. Extend the left foot. And then just draw down into the ground, take some circles. And we're just warming up the wrists as well as the back body. Just a few rotations of circles. And then drop your left foot down towards the ground. Curl your toes under, and then just lift your knees coming into a hovering tabletop. And then we'll move a little bit in our hovering tabletop. So we start to activate the low core, so really contracting the navel into the spine. Step your right foot back, step your left foot back. Plank position, top of a push-up, take a deep inhale. Right foot steps back. Make sure the knee is right underneath the hip, left foot steps back. And I will start with the left foot. More gaze right in front of us about a few inches, right foot steps back. Really engage your quads, left knee comes back into center, right knee comes back in. Hold in your hovering tabletop. You can drop the knees if you need to. We'll just find a bit of stillness. One more round. Let's start with the left foot steps back, right foot steps back. Engage your quads a lot, drive the heels away, left foot steps in, right foot steps in, hovering tabletop. Really contract the belly into the spine. Good, right foot steps back, left foot steps back. And then right foot comes in, left foot comes in, back to that hovering tabletop. Take a deep inhale breath. And then on your exhale, slowly and mindfully start to draw the tailbone up towards the sky and then drive the heels down. Coming into your first Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. And then from here, we're gonna ripple forward into our plank pose. Drop your hips, bend your elbows, hovering down dog. And then just glide back into turbo dog. So the belly is going to connect to the thighs. We're gonna do that a few times. So inhale, ripple forward, drop your hips, bend your elbows, gaze forward. Slowly guide the hips back up into your turbo dog, I like to call it. So close the gap between your belly and your thigh. Inhale, ripple forward, drop your hips, bend your elbows. Slowly release back, belly to thigh connection. Take a deep inhale. As you ripple forward, exhale, drop your hips, bend your elbows. So you should feel that right away, not just in the low back, but in those hips. Bend your knees, press your belly to your thigh, and then straighten everything out. Tailbone to the sky, downward facing dog. So let's take all of what we just did on the earth and let's take it into a three-legged dog. Inhale the right leg to the sky, bend your knee and stack your hip. Circle the right knee, tap the right elbow, and then let's take that 2 more times. Inhale and exhale, circle, tap. Inhale, extend, exhale, circle, tap. Inhale, extend the right leg all the way up to the sky. And then on your exhale, step your right foot in between your hands. Drop your knee, top of your foot. Rise up, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. So now we're gonna get really into those psoas, right? So we're driving the right knee over the right ankle. Palms are lifted. Take the right hand inside of the right thigh and then start to twist over to the left side of your space. So the left rib is pulling back and away, and then bicep in line with your ear. So extend and lengthen, sinking deep. You should really feel that as you find that twist in the spine. Let's take 3 breaths here. Getting a little bit deeper, so growing into your shape each and every round, making sure that you're really pressing the right elbow into that right inner thigh. 1 more inhale breath. And full exhale. Let's reverse. So take the left hand to your left thigh, right arm peels up and overhead. Cartwheel your hands to frame the foot. Curl the back toes, lift the knees, step back, plank pose. Inhale to shift forward. Exhale, drop to your knees, lower to your chest and your chin, and then belly slides onto the earth. We're in Cobra. Let's hover the fingers up off of the earth. So in this little hovering Bhujangasana. So we're not using the palms. We're lifting up, breathing in through your diaphragm. Slowly release everything to the earth. Sit back into child pose. And then curl your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Once again, find your Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep that micro bend in the elbow, so not hyperextending. We want to really let the chest just kind of move close organically towards the thighs. Pedaling out your feet, whatever movement you might need. Inhale the left leg to the sky, bend your knees, stack your hip. 3 rounds, circle the left knee, tap the left elbow, shift the plank. Inhale, extend and lengthen, bend and stack. Exhale, shift and tap. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, circle, tap. 3-legged dog, take a deep breath. And then exhale, slowly step your left foot in between your thumbs. Drop your knee, top of your foot. Root down, so feel all the points of contact on the mat and then sweep your arms all the way up to the sky. Settle into your shape for a moment and then left hand inside of the left thigh, pulling the ribs away from the midline, so towards the right side of your space, and then extend and lengthen. So the more that you can really open up the heart and the ribs, the deeper you'll be able to feel this in that psoas, those deep, deep connective tissues, muscles that are just within us, really hard to get to. So 3 breaths, settle in, maybe closing your eyes for a moment. Last round, so 1 more cycle of breath. And then let's reverse, right hand down, left arm reaches up and overhead. Cartwheel your hands to frame out that left foot. We're gonna step into that plank pose once again. Find your plank, protract your shoulders, inhale, shift forward, 1 more round, knees, chest, chin. Slide your belly onto the earth, Bhujangasana. Lift your fingers up off of the earth, finding a little bit more open space, no resistance. Making sure you're plugging down into those feet, release everything down towards the ground. Sit back, child pose, curl your toes. And then glide all the way up into downward facing dog. So with each and every round, we're gonna find a little bit more depth. Come high into the ball mounds of your feet. Let's heat up the body a little bit. Bend your knees. We're gonna hop into prayer squat. So if you know that prayer squat is not something that you enjoy hopping into, then just step. Turn your toes out. Once again, we're getting into those hips, elbows into your inner thighs, thumbs to your sternum. And then just move it around. So wiggle so that you can open up. Beautiful. Let's take a little bit of a twist from here. So take your right hand to your left thigh, peel your left arm up, and then reach it around for your small back. This is your half bind, so a little bit less in the shoulders, but if you would like to go to your full bind, right hand in front of your right shin, connect the fingers, pull your palms down by your sacrum. Another place that we hold a lot of tension is in the shoulders. So any large joint, the knees, the shoulders, and then really energetically pull your heart towards the sky, coming back to center. Palms plant, lift the hips, taking a wide forward fold. You can grab opposite elbows, whatever feels good. You have this nice open space in the legs, and then just kind of shimmy from side to side. And then once again, release your hands, sink your hips down into prayer squat. Left hand grabs a hold of your right shin or ankle, right arm reaches up, sweep it all the way around to your small back. And this is a great place to hang out, or you can take that left hand in front of the left shin. Once you find that connection, pull the palms down by your sacrum, and then just settle into your shape for a moment. So give yourself at least 3 breaths. You can always bring a little bit of movement, any wiggles that you might. And then come back to center. Once again, release your hands down to the ground, lift your hips, coming into wide forward fold. Toe heel your feet so that they're connected.
or close to connected. And then roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. So we're creating little tiny pockets of space, coming into mountain pose. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to the sky, gaze up, maybe a tiny little back bend, and then exhale, move through heart center, let it go, forward fold. Inhale, take your first little flat back, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, slowly start to release. Bend your knees onto the earth, step your left foot back, step your right foot back, plank pose. Let's hang out in our plank for a moment. Protract your shoulders, make sure that you're really contracting the low belly, maybe even like tapping it just to ensure that you're really contracting it. You can feel it. Deep inhale breath. And full exhale will take you into your downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So now we're just gonna take it up a notch, and we're gonna take it from the ground all the way up. So inhale the right of the sky, just taking this into a ladder flow. Exhale, knee to nose, step your right foot in between your hands. Ground through your back heel so that's parallel to the back of your mat. And then warrior two, this is a great hip opener. So we'll move through a few rounds of our warrior two. Find a bit of stillness. You can always toe heel your front foot a little bit closer to the top of your mat, and that will just give you a little more depth. You want to think about your mat. You want to use the whole area, surface area. Inhale, reach your right hand forward, flip your palm, and reverse. Cartwheel your hands to frame the foot, pivot onto the back toe, step back plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows hug into the ribs. Peel your heart all the way up to the sky, and then gently guide your hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale, extend the left leg to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, gently step your left foot, ground through your back heel, warrior two on the other side. And we're taking 3 breaths. So I feel like 3 is a good number. Relax your shoulders. And remember, yogi breaths are a little bit longer. So it's like 3 in and 3 out. And then noticing, so really kind of scan your body. Which side is a little bit more tighter? Which side do we need to send a little more energy to? Reach your left hand forward, flip your palm and reverse. And then cartwheel your hands to frame out your foot, pivot onto the back toe, step back, plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga, maybe knees, chest, chin, and that's where you stay the entire time, starting to awaken the low back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, come high in the balls of your feet, bend your knees, gaze forward. We're gonna either step, hop, or float into that prayer squat once again. Sink the hips heavy down, up, right? So magnetically allow the hips to just be heavy. Palms to your sternum, or fingers, thumbs. Let's reside here just for a moment, I know. Beautiful job. And then release the hands down onto the earth, lift the hips up towards the sky, toe heel the feet back. Roll yourself up, 1 vertebrae at a time. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky, tiny back bend. And exhale, move through heart center, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Maybe fingertips stay on the earth. You can use blocks. And then fold it all the way through. Bend your knees. Hands plant, right leg steps back. Left leg steps back, plank pose. Here we go. We're going to be here for a few breaths. Eyes of the elbows in towards each other. Making sure that you have 1 line of energy from your heels all the way up through the crown of your head. Deep inhale breath and exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful job. Always remembering to move organically. Let's move on. Inhale the right leg to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Step your right foot in between your thumbs, ground through your back heel, parallel, warrior two once again. Finding a little bit more depth. And then from your warrior two, 1 more full round of breath so that we can really feel this external rotation. It's a really great hip opener, warrior two. So I always choose that when I'm kind of thinking about what kind of hips I want to do. Inhale, reach the right hand forward, flip your palm and reverse. And then let's take it into our side angle pose. So right hand inside, hovering side angle today. Pull the left rib away. If you need that little extra assistance, you can place the right elbow onto the right thigh as if you were kind of holding a platter, or just, so now we're using those adductor muscles to keep us lifted if you are taking that floating side angle pose. Moving through warrior two, take a deep inhale breath. On your exhale, cartwheel your hands to frame out the foot. Let's extend that right leg into three-legged dog. Bend your knee and stack your hip, and we're gonna place the right toes behind the left wrist. Do not release down yet. So right here, you're super constricted, if that's the word that I wanna use, compressed, right? So let's shimmy those back toes all the way back, and we're gonna bring a little bit of movement in our pigeon. So we're bringing those back toes back. You wanna make sure that front leg is parallel. Drop the knee down towards the ground, lift your gaze, lift your heart, and then bring your knee into your nose. We're gonna do 3 like that. Inhale, carve out your chest. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, carve out your chest, hard flex those toes. Exhale, knee to nose, and then gently, slowly release that right foot down, uncurl the back toe. If you start to notice right away that you're shifting over to the right hip, take your towel, take anything that might prop you up just a little bit. Sometimes blocks or books are too much, or if you're really feeling it, take that block right underneath that right hip. And then just allow yourself to settle in. You can make a fist pillow. Or if you have super duper open hips, twisting is always an option. Left hand reaches underneath that right elbow and then release your left cheek and shoulder. So you will immediately know where you want to be. So you want to give your body the most amount of nourishment. So the breath, thoughts, we want to just kind of tune into our parasympathetic nervous system. So the nervous system that is responsible for our rest and our reset. And we always want to be in a little bit of a balance. So we don't want to be like parasympathetic if we're playing tennis. We want to be more, right, sympathetic, which is a little bit more fight or flight. Maybe even like that little happy balance. As everything is a balance in life. All right, let's take one more full round of breath and then slowly start to roll yourself up. From here, shift over to your right hip. We're gonna come into full pigeon. So we're just gonna bring that left knee into your chest and then wrap your hands around that left foot. Cradle and the synovial fluids of that left leg. And then we're just going to stack. Left toes onto right knee crease. Drop the leg, guide that knee down. Sit up nice and tall to start. So you can use the assistance of your palm to hard flex those toes. Everything is stacking perfectly. You can stay here or go a little bit deeper and walk the hands forward without. You want to feel that grounding through your sit bones and tune into what your body is telling you. Your body has this wisdom, intuition, and if you're like, no way, that's not happening, just make your adjustments. Want to maintain the breath. You feel like the breath is a barometer for where we are in our practice. If you feel like it's super shallow and you're like, bring it back. There's so much power in medicine in breathing. Sometimes we overthink things. Use more logic than imagination. I think that happens to us when we become adults. Let's walk the hands back and we're just gonna shift back into our boat pose. So we're gonna round through the back, lift the legs up towards the sky. This is gonna be our transition. So how do you feel from that right side? So just do a little scan of the body. We're in boat, awkward space between your tailbone and your sit bone. Cross at your ankles, bring your knees into your chest, and then slowly start to step back into your plank pose. If you have a jump back, beautiful. Move through your vinyasa. Pull your heart all the way up and through, and then meet in downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Settle in. This is your home base. If you feel like you need a child's pose, beautiful. On your next inhale, left leg extends all the way up to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Gently step your left foot in between your thumbs, ground through your back heel. Warrior two. This is where I need a little bit more love. And making sure that both of your knees are pressing away. So we have this beautiful external rotation. Relax your shoulders, relax your palms. And this is a great time to start to manage your thoughts a little bit. When we settle in, even in pigeon, we prioritize. Where do we want to bring our awareness and our thoughts at this very moment? Let's take one more full cycle of breath. Both knees are pressing away. Left hand reaches forward, flip your palm and reverse. Peaceful warrior. And then left hand inside of that left thigh, hovering side angle pose. You can guide the knee away from the midline. Pull the ribs up towards the sky. So we're really charging that heart. Using those inner thighs, those adductors to keep us lifted. Through warrior two, inhale. Cartwheel your hands to frame out the foot, pivot onto the back toes, and that left leg is just gonna sweep all the way up to the sky into three-legged dog. And then left toes behind the right wrist. Shimmy that back foot all the way back. Flex those toes. So the toes are even connected to the right wrist, and the knee is right behind the left wrist. And then let's take that movement. Look up, so drop the hips, inhale, take a little back bend, exhale, knee to nose. Two more, inhale, and exhale. Beautiful job, guys. Inhale, and exhale, pause for a moment. Drop that left knee right behind the left wrist, and then uncurl the toes. So root down into the top of the foot. So right away, you're probably gonna feel this magnetic shift to the left. We wanna keep ourselves right in the midline. So even if that means staying lifted. Right, or walk the forearms down. Just keep breathing. You know, you can find a little bit more integration. So taking a simple pose as pigeon and making it a little bit more complex by either taking a twist or walking the hands a little closer. But it's important for us to really notice that we are right in the midline. And what is your experience that you're feeling in this pose? So anytime we work on hips, it's very emotional. It's our hidden survival muscle. A lot of stuff gets stored there. So let's wash it out. Our breath is a power washer. Awesome job, guys. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath. And then let's slowly make our way back up. Palms, connect, shift over to that left hip, sweep the right leg all the way up into the creases of your elbows so you can cradle out that right foot. The left shin is just parallel to the top of your space, and then gently place that right foot into the creases. Make any adjustments that you might need. Guide the right knee down. Beautiful. Maybe walk your hands forward, dropping everything down, making a fist pillow. You can always use that block, placing it right on top of that knee. I should have said that before in the first round. We're only here for 3 more breaths. Do anything for 3 breaths. And then on your last cycle of breath, just roll yourself up, float your head above your shoulders, scoop out the belly, and then bring your feet up towards the sky. We're gonna take 1 more little jump through. So crossing the opposite ankle on top, bring your knees into your chest, and then either jump, step, float, move through your vinyasa. So take your time coming into downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Notice how you feel when you're in this inversion. Come high into the balls of your feet. Bend your knees, gaze forward. We're gonna step, hop, or float into that prayer squat. 1, palms into your, together, connected in prayer position, and really plugging all 4 corners of your feet into the earth. Beautiful. And then from here, you're just going to release the hips down towards the ground. Keep that open space. You might even want to walk the hips back just a little bit. We're going to open up the feet a little bit wider, and we're just going to tick-tock the hips from side to side. Oh, yeah. I have 3 teenage daughters, so yeah.
It's real. It's real. Let's come all the way over to the left. We're going to take a twist, so around the world twist. So right here, really notice that internal rotation of that right hip or that inner groin. And then try to pull it back. Take your left hand to your left thigh and then actually try and pull so that you're externally rotating it. Ooh, I feel that, right? So we're not shifting forward. We're actually leaning out, leaning back. And we're just going to be here for a moment before we take our full twist. Maybe lean back just a little bit more, and let's slowly release the palms all the way over to the left. Maybe the right cheek comes down to the ground. Just a few more breaths. And let's slowly make your way back up to center. And once again, let's tick-tock the hips from side to side. You can keep your hands by your side or maybe hands in prayer over to the right. So we're 90, 90. And then leaning back just a little bit. So feel that external rotation of that left groin, that left inner thigh. You can use your hands as assistance. So each person has a different body, obviously. So there's a different prescription for each person. One more breath, and then let's walk all the way over to the right. Left cheek comes down to the ground. And what this does is this really helps to open up your kidney band. So you might feel this in the low back on the left side. The root to all disease is inflammation. Inflammation causes a lot. All right, let's come back to center. Tent your knees up towards the sky, reach your arms forward, lower yourself one vertebrae at a time down onto the earth. Keep your knees tented up towards the sky. And now do that same action as you just kind of move windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Now this is a little bit more low back. Beautiful. And then just extend your legs all the way up towards the sky. Flex your toes, point your toes. And just pause here for a moment. Palms come underneath your hips. Take an inhale as you extend and flex your toes up towards the sky. And then exhale, lower the legs down. We're just gonna take a few rounds of leg lifts. Inhale, make sure you're grounding through your tailbone. Exhale. Everything is anchored. Inhale and exhale. Now you can move a little bit more quickly. You can even bring your shoulders up off of the earth as you gaze forward. Make sure your chin is away from your chest. Good. So we're just taking these basic leg lifts. It's gonna work the low part of your abdomen. And if you lift the shoulders up, we're working a little bit more upper core as well. Lift up and lower. Good. Take 5 more. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Let's let the feet just hover over the earth and then bring your knees into your chest. Lower everything down onto the ground. Wrap your arms around your shins. Extend the left leg forward and then release it down onto the ground. Bring the right knee up and around the rib cage. And if you still feel like you need to dissolve a little bit more tension, you can make little circles and then find that sweet spot. Cross the body, take the right knee over to the left side, open up that right hand. You can always move the hips a little bit around if you need to, taking a nice twist. Just a gentle supine twist. anytime we take that twist, we always want to really think about the exhalation. Grounding into this pose. So we always want to prepare our body for Savasana. We don't want to jump right into, our vinyasas and then come into the earth. Let's come back to center. Bringing the knees back into your chest, and then right foot extends, the left knee up and around the rib cage. Taking that window removing pose. Just this basic little hip tweaker, if you will. And then cross the body, left knee drops over to the right, finding a nice supine twist. Close your eyes. This will allow for you to shut off that sensory organ of the body. And so without our sight, we really can tune into how we're feeling at this very moment. Prioritize your thoughts. We're still here on our mat. We're in this present moment. We're not eating lunch. I know. Let's come back to center. Bring your knees into your chest. I want to take a nice open kind of heart opener. So we're going to take fish pose. But if you'd like to take a shoulder stand real quick, or maybe you're feeling a little bit more back bend, you need to back bend it out. You can always take bridge pose as long as you reach for those soles of the feet, or sorry, the heels of your feet, and then lift up. Right, so I really wanted to focus on hips today, but if you need anything else, this is a great inversion. So this is gonna help to drain out your lymphatic system. Shoulder standers, same thing. Just make sure that you let go of your breathing if you're in a shoulder stand, because there's a little bit more closed off throat. But just knowing that wherever you are, the benefits are amazing. It's great for digestion, anxiety, if you feel anxious. And then we're going to take our fish pose. So if you're in shoulder stand, take it into plow, and then palms come underneath your glutes. We're going to lower the legs, make sure that your heels and your toes are touching, point your toes, and then prop yourself up. So actively press into the elbows, draw the elbows under the heart, making a little shelf. And then really puff out your chest, let your head fall back. This is a great way to open up the whole front meridian of your body. All of the chakra systems, all of the systems that help us to eliminate waste. And then bringing it all the way to the crown, and we eliminate that waste by being grateful, by prayer, by meditation, whatever it is. But it's very crucial for us. You can lift the toes if you want to get a little bit more active in the low core. We're going to be here for 5 more breaths. Really puff out your chest. And slowly start to release. Bring your chin down in towards your chest, and then release. Bring your knees and give yourself a hug, last little hug, and then extend your feet down into your Savasana. Open up wide, or soles of your feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana. Really take this time. Our Savasana should be a time of reflection, but also a time of detachment. So we went through our flow, maybe there were some bumps, let it go. We don't need to detach, or we need to detach from those moments, whether they were good, whether they were bad. It is what it is. Not better, not worse, just a little bit different. Start to come back to your intention as you let go of the breath. Knowing that you're exactly where you need to be in this very moment, right here, right now. And your presence is required here, even if there's something distracting you. The highest vibration that we could be in, right? The feeling is love. When we really use love and compassion to drive us, and gratitude, then we will always be in the highest vibration. We will reside there. I've been doing this thing and it's called the countdown. So if I notice myself wanting to say something or think a thought that is not aligned with where I am today in my life, I count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I shut it down. The same thing if I'm living in a little bit of fear and I know I want to do something or call someone or say something, you know, obviously in a place of love and compassion, I do the same exact thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do it. It's changing my entire life, right? So it can stop you from saying something that you shouldn't, and it can also drive you to move towards a place that you're living in fear. So maybe just try that today. And I invite you to stay here, just be without my voice for as long as you need to. Thanking yourself for showing up to your mat today. It is always my honor to guide you. And just remember that I am just your guide. You are the one that's doing all of the work. Thank you for trusting in me, and really thank yourself for trusting in your body's own wisdom. Namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful day.